oh man, Sneeze is coming. But yes, the Aphelios locked in. Still a super hyper carry. Still something that we've seen a lot of the LPL teams leaning back towards. Honestly, I would say like a lot harder than some other regions as well.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like for so many AD carries and so many teams, Aphelios is just such a comfort AD carry now for so many people. I feel like it's kind of the new gen Sivir, right? If you were back in the day before Aphelios came out, I felt like a lot of AD carries would just kind of default the Sivir, and she would be rather the sort of AoE front to back AD carry that provides a whole bunch of utility. Now it feels like it's actually Aphelios that kind of fills that role. As top esports, they went towards the Annie, no surprise there. We've seen a whole bunch of priority on that champion now for the last 2 patches or so, and Wukong as well, as the Zeri comes in at R3, whereas TT taking a much more early game focused approach with the Elise and with Tristana, so Ucal probably going to have his hands on that one unless we're getting Hoya on the Tristana top special. So TT set up for 2v2 success. That would be pretty fun, as top esports will remove the newly buffed Kennen away from Hoya's hand.
Yeah, get that one off of him. And I will say, like, you know, TT, they've been a bit of a silently good team in terms of our mid-table. Very much a good litmus test to see where you're, standing in the rest compared to the rest of the pack, because they've kind of lost to everyone above them and beaten everyone below them. So right now, top esports, this is a really important match for you, because we didn't actually really get to talk about it because we were talking about all the different changes coming in the 13.5. Top esports got slapped by LGD, like slapped around, did not look that great, and like they were still doing top esports things. They were gaining advantages in the laning phase, having those individual, kind of powerful moments, but it wasn't coming together. It wasn't excuse me. It wasn't cohesive, getting emotional, because I love this team so much, but it wasn't really what we expect this team to be able to do, and it really felt like this top esports team is struggling with its identity of how it wants to play the game. So TT are in a very strong position to make something happen here.
Yeah, absolutely they are. And, like you said, beaten every team below them, but not every team above them. And top esports are only 1 win above them. So it's not like they're not within arm's reach or anything for TT, as they'll go towards the Nautilus. So hard engage, set up on the bottom side now. And when you've got the Elise, that does make sense that you're going to want to have a little bit of additional CC, as blind pick Ksante from QingTian means that Hoya's going to be able to get a pretty favorable matchup if he wants it. Hovering over the Gwen, it will go through. So side lane threat always going to be there. The early laning phase as well should be in the favor of TT, rather, in the top side of the map. So we'll see exactly what QingTian can do. QingTian has been pretty solid and pretty consistent throughout the entirety of the split, throughout the top lane, and that's what he was brought in to do at the start of the year, as top esports going to go for the super defensive setup here, with Mark locking in the Braum. So playing to defend against those dives, anticipating that will be the game plan here for ThunderTalk, and it will be Rookie actually piloting the Annie in the mid lane now.
Yeah, bringing the Annie into mid I actually really like as well, because when you're going up against something like the Tristana, the kill pressure is insane, but the extra shielding and honestly just a straight up burst available to Annie is really, really nice to kind of deter any kind of massive overextensions underneath the tower. You still have the Elise, so I will expect to see TT utilizing that mid jungle combination to the fullest of its abilities. But looking at both these sides, like you said,
and specifically Tian are able to really rein in the powerhouse that can be Elise and specifically Beichuan here in this game number 1.
Yeah, very excited to see. And of course, just a reminder, if you're just joining us, if top esports 2-0 TT today, they will lock in playoffs. They will be guaranteed at minimum 10th place. But for TT, we mentioned it a little bit earlier, they could bring themselves onto parity with the side of top esports. If you do a 7-6 win here, will bring 8-5 to top esports and an 8-6 to ThunderTalk. That's 1 series away from basically leapfrogging them, and that top 4 position isn't safe for anybody just yet. So really, really looking forward to see what TT can do, because as I said, they've been quietly able to kind of pick themselves up as a very good temperature check for a lot of our teams in the league.
Yep, and I will say it's not unreasonable to say that top esports, given their recent form, will win the remainder of their series, right? It's ELG, OMG after this, and those are 2 teams that are kind of in a similar race to TT right now. I think OMG are actually, they're definitely matching wins with top esports. I just think they've played 1 more series. I think this is top esports' game in hand, if memory serves me right. And you're saying yes for confirmation, so I'm glad I remember these things off the top of my head.
It's almost like it's our job or something.
almost, right?
Almost. But, crazy.
Yeah, so for top esports, you want to kind of escape this clump, this mixer of teams, and try and keep up with that 4th place win, or 4th place race rather, as dropping to 8. But now it kind of feels like they're at the very least compared to where we thought the rest of the top 4 teams were going to be. Of course, they still have the series left, as does everyone else in that race. So we'll see how exactly they do, but still looking very competitive.
Yeah, and I think you know, obviously, you know, start of this game, we're not really going to see a lot of really happening. We're going to see the Elise maybe try and lock up with the Tristana, but until that happens, we can kind of talk about why we're having such weird feelings, or at least I am, about top esports so far this split, because it does feel like this team, it should be aiming for #1. You look at these players, you look at this organization right now, and you're saying to yourself, like, this isn't a, this shouldn't be a team that's looking for 4th place. This is a team that should be looking for top 2 and then the championship. So to kind of come back out of it and really not know where this team kind of finds themselves is a very much kind of bit of a slap in the face to a lot of the fans, especially when you think of the fact that Rookie was the replacement tonight, and it looks kind of very similar to how top esports generally do very, very well during the regular split, or sorry, yeah, during the regular split, but then have just these random moments where you just feel like they're just not going to perform. So very curious to see how this kind of ends up working out for this team, and especially today, this is a big moment because, like you said, they're going up against more playoff teams, more playoff hopefuls that are all trying to get ahead of them.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think for it to be fair, top esports a little bit, they have beaten almost every single team that they 100% should. They've not really dropped the series where it's like, guys, what are you doing? You know, with the exception, of course, of LGD, which you can more honestly just credit LGD for good gameplay.
Yeah.
More than anything else. But it does kind of. Wait, was Beichuan out of it? That looked really weird. It looked like a step out of it. Anyway, this topside gank is going to happen. Hoya will pop Ghost. We'll see if Tian has the damage or the sticking power. I don't feel like he's going to. Oisin just going to walk out of that.
Yeah, nice little bit of a pressure alleviation there from Tian onto his top lane, I should say, onto Hoya, because it's a little bit of an unfortunate situation to be in there as the Ksante. Of course, you do pick the Gwen to just kind of say, look, I'm going to win this one. Oh, swing and a miss. Swing and a miss, unfortunately, for Mark. So not able to go stop that back. But yeah, again, this is kind of par for the course for them. Have a look at the mid laners right now. And even there, see, like, regardless of how the results have been going, Rookie first in a lot of those metrics. And if I could read Mandarin, I would tell you what they were. But I'm just assuming the middle one's like damage or gold at 15, I'm thinking that's gold at 15?
Yeah, I think it could be gold. Those are pretty... Gold at 15, 4,000. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
It could also very reasonably be damage as well. The top one was definitely a gold difference, I think. Some kind of gold average. In terms of counterpart, I think. Again, one day we'll...
one day we'll learn.
But you know, you have to remember as well though, on live feed, I think this should just be a disengage here, but you can already see the power of Braum and what it can do in this specific 2v2. QingTian has already teleported back to lane, by the way, so Hoya has just chunked him out completely. If I'm QingTian, I'm probably resetting right now, unless he's getting a visit from a lane very soon.
I mean, he would love to reset right now. He's got no support from his jungler, but you can see he's very close to level 6. He knows he could get that, and that kind of changes the dynamic of the top lane. But if you get level 6 here onto Hoya first, that's when this laning phase becomes a hell of a lot harder. He may lose his flash if the needlework comes in. Yeah, there's
next minion.
Yeah, he's gonna have to walk away here, and there's a problem as well because it's a cannon. So he's gonna have to wait to this next wave, and then it will crash.
I am actively more surprised that Beichuan hasn't just sprinted his way up here. He's doing all of his camps, so maybe this is just being communicated that they want as big a wave stacked up as possible. QingTian has hit level 6 and actually took flash in this lane, so has a fair amount of outplay potential. Now Beichuan's finally making his way, at the very least, into the river, but he's not making it top. And the issue is Tian obviously always has to shadow this, and it just makes you wonder if Hoya goes to the play by himself, it'll just end up being a 2v1, but Beichuan's actually just taking the long way around. He's going to find Tian on his crux.
He's going to find him, take away a couple of those Kruglings. And I believe it was Nymera and Mazel yesterday were having a debate on what you would call the little Krugs. But again, nothing to be gained here for TT, but they are gaining small CS advantages. You can see in mid lane, Ucal has constant shove. Top lane as well, we are seeing a lot of pressure being put on the QingTian. Now mid lane, Rookie is going to potentially have to flash, but no, extra movement speed coming in from his shield means he is totally fine. So it looks like Top Esports are just going to survive this early stage of the game, but they are going to lose their first dragon.
Yeah, they will likely lose this dragon here as setup comes through. Top Esports, however, do have numbers. They've opened up through this mid lane river entrance, but won't commit to any kind of proactive play. It does actually just stave TT off the dragon, so that's the important part for now, I suppose. But priority can still very much be TT's in both the bottom side and the mid lane. Still feels like that dragon will be started up. It should be secured. We'll see if Top Esports have an answer, but I think with the lane priorities the way they are, it's just a little bit too difficult to answer, and I think this is just by design of the TT draft. Go Tristana, you go Aphelios very early on. I think that just the threat of trying to, you know, move a Nautilus and an Aphelios with an Elise on the map just feels a little bit too difficult as neither work comes through. QingTian gets chunked out and he's just been suffering in the health department all lane long.
Really is. Yeah, we see Tibbers getting dropped there into mid lane. Flash for flash. Rookie very much ready to get rid of that summoner spell because he knows if he gets caught out there, that's an insta-kill with the Elise coming back as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Would have died. So flash for flash, you always take that as TT. It's a really nice play from Yao. Just kind of recognizing, yeah, flash is not worth as much as the mid lane flash. Secures that, and you know, from one objective to the other, TT again, you know, priority all three lanes here. They've got themselves the dragon. Now they'll get themselves the herald as well. Tian's down here trying to maybe set up some kind of bottom side dive in reaction, but it's just a bit difficult with both summoners. And again, Ucal has first move, so Top Esports really can't look for anything in fear that they get collapsed on. And this is, you know, this is like textbook case study material on why you at very least need one lane of priority sometimes. Because often it just shuts down your ability to make plays pretty much ever. Right now, TT just flexing their muscles in the early game, securing everything that they have to.
And look, you know, you might look at it and kind of go, okay, it's only a couple of objectives. It's only about a 600-700 gold lead. It's not too much in the grand scheme of things, but it is eking out into little small moments here that can kind of boil over later on into the game. It's not a super early soul, but they are still stacking that particular objective for themselves. They would hope and pray that it is either a mountain or an inferno. Please to God, if you're a TT fan, it's not a chem soul, but again, these are little things that can kind of burn up for you. And the thing is as well, like, yes, you have the early priority here for TT, but they've also got 2 culls, so they are going to be hitting very big item points, you know, in that mid game that is going to be kind of not really hit on the same level for Top Esports, so they're going to be able to take big fights there as well.
Yeah, and I mean, with double AD carry, I mean, the only thing really TT are lacking is, like, you know, a big, beefy front line, right? You know, you've got Bruiser, that will be Hoya, and the space that he can provide is obviously going to be huge in the Nautilus, but it's not quite Braum for Ksante. So we'll see whether or not, you know, the slightly bulkier, offensive-ish setup from Top Esports can yield any kind of, you know, bigger results once a couple of their core items come online. But you know, with TT, that, you know, Tristana 2 items, Aphelios 2 items, once they're online, they're going to be happy to take any fight as long as they're on moderately even terms. Just about what Top Esports will, you know, actually be able to find proactively, because so far it has just been TT through and through.
I just want to tell everybody as well that in solidarity with Orcs going to the LCK, we've decided to have a late first blood just to show him that we love him and we miss him, but we're happy that he's in a new area and thriving in a new league. So congrats to Orcs, and in solidarity with you, we will wait 12 minutes until first blood, possibly even 13, because Dragon's up for 2.
Yeah. You know, hey, Hoya, he doesn't, yeah, see, he's bored. You can quite clearly tell. But, I mean, he's winning the lane, so it's alright. And we'll see whether or not, again, you know, this kind of action provides any kind of, you know, bait towards the top side for either jungler, but I feel like 90 seconds left until that dragon spawns up. Each side necessarily wants to make a play, unless it is right this instant, and you can see Beichuan eyeing up maybe a mid lane play, was hovering towards the top side, we'll just take a reset. And the same will likely be true from Tian after he finds a play on the top side, but pretty late.
Yeah, here we go. We're going to see a flash in. They're going to try and get the all-out back. And this is Hoya going down. First blood to QingTian. That's a really nice gank there from Tian, recognizing there was no ult and no ghost.
Yeah, there you go. Really, really well played. The turnaround potential is significantly lower if you don't have all the extra mobility from Ghost. And the damage, and a little bit of healing from the ult, just because you've got that Omnivamp item there in your inventory. So, really well played from Tian as
Beichuan.
Yeah, that was quite wide. And they were just trying to play on Rookie's flash timer. It's just about to come up now. So, I will give credit for timing the play. At the time
An attempt was made.
Exactly. Huanfeng may be forced to use anything. Cleanse, maybe. No. Ooh. I hate Gale Force, man. I hate it. I hate it. Like, it's so. Oh.
But now he doesn't have it now. So there's an opportunity here with 15 seconds to go until this dragon spawns, where TT will have the opportunity to make something worth here in this bot side, but very difficult for top esports to really contest this. Tian's on a reset. They don't have vision control. It's going to be second dragon, and we will see what rift we are going to be getting as a rift maker gets picked up here by Hoya. So TT, yes, they do lose first blood. Bit unfortunate in that top side, but it is still a decent time of it in terms of how they're going with the laning phase.
Yeah, it still is now. No member is majorly behind, right? The top side is probably the biggest sufferer of the one-to-one, but again, the matchup is quite lopsided. And hey, you know, matching timing through the means of the first blood in gold means that Jackshow is already there for QingTian as well. So it's not like he's so far behind that it's going to be a major problem, but Gwen is naturally just kind of going to outskate them on the side lane. I think from a whole list of the Ksante counters that we've come to get very familiar with, I think Gwen is probably the strongest. I feel like a lot of people thought that Fiora would be probably number one, right? There's a lot of very telegraphed CC in Ksante's kit. And so it makes you think, you know, Riposte should be a very, very powerful tool, but I can't tell you how many times I've seen Ksante solo kill Fiora in the early stages, in the later stages. I feel like it's just because Fiora takes a little bit too long to come online.
Yeah.
Ksante kind of just matches those power points.
Yeah, I was also going to say as well, like, we got QingTian obviously taking into Ksante. It is on 13.5, which means Grasping Undying has been nerfed, so you're not going to have as safe of a time anymore. You can see there Hoya much more confident to kind of take these Conqueror stack kind of trades and know that every single time QingTian is not going to be healing up as much. He has lost that, you know, the maximum healing coming out as well. He still gains more health in terms of the actual maximum health he gains from the rune itself, but in terms of the one-to-one healing, it's not going to be there.
Yeah, I mean, you have to kind of think about it like this, right? Grasp is less of a rune, like a trading rune now, and it's more about scaling, right?
Yeah.
So getting the extra 2 health per prop is a pretty big deal at the end of the day, right? It just kind of, it's, if you think about it like this, you're almost getting, you know, 50% more value per Grasp prop for the permanent stats you get. You just have to be a lot more careful, shall we say, with how you trade. Looking for those rough stacks in the face. Aware. Yes.
Aware.
But top esports, they were in the river here well before TT were. And I will say this is definitely where, you know, for now, with picks like Braum and Zeri, top esports, their firstly objective against a composition like TT's, who are definitely very much like go forward, find dredge lines. I think top esports can at the very least find more positive fights than they won't if they're the ones aggressing into Fog of War. So all 5 here, all 5 moves from TT here as well, and if they can just kite back a little bit, get some space support, then they should be okay. But TT looking for a flank angle, and that's how you break these positions. Hoya in prime position. I don't actually know.
They saw
him briefly there.
Yeah, they just spotted him there, so they know he's going to be there. Rookie trying to play bouncers. They go in for the engage. There's going to be the Rift Herald secured as QingTian now trying to run away with the all-out, but he jumps straight into Huanfeng, who jumps back in with the Gale Force, and that secures a kill, but it's been top laner for top laner. No one's picked up the Rift Herald just yet. Finally, it goes down to Tian. As we can now see, Giant JackeyLove gets jumped on here as Ucal gets the reset. They're going to have to try and flash on top of him. Finally gets taken down, but it took everybody's flash to make sure it happened. It ends up being a 2-for-2, but Rift Herald did go over to top esports, so they still come out the victor of that trade.
Yeah, really good for top esports. Honestly, get the neutral objective here. Hopefully for them, it will net them some extra gold somewhere on the map. But 2-for-2, the end trade of this exchange. And I mean, Hoya on this flank angle here does buy a whole bunch of space, and you can see Rookie's kind of like trying to man mark here. And at the same time, us on the front line, it just all kicks off. The all out comes through from QingTian, but he just gets one shot as soon as he does that. Hoya as well, kind of making his own flank try to work. Doesn't quite come through as the rest of TT a little bit too focused on that front line battle. As see JackeyLove is forced down, pushed out by Ucal, but Ucal commits with the positioning, pays for it with his life.
Yeah, I like as well that Top Esports recognized there that if they let Ucal just kind of have another reset or something, they probably don't kill him, so they have to fully commit to him there. So we come back into live 40 seconds until the next dragon, but a big key thing to note is a hell of a lot, if not all of the flashes from Top Esports' carries are now down.
Yeah, exactly. So many crucial summon spells gone, and if TT are able to gain setup, looks like they've come back to the map a little bit quicker than Top Esports have. Could mean that they'll secure this third dragon quite easily, and you know, like you mentioned, with no flashes now, it's like Nautilus, they thrive, right? Especially when Yayo actually has his flash available. He's able to just fish and more accurately likely find those picks. This should be pretty good for TT, but Top Esports forcing their way in with numbers. See how they get on, because it seems to me like they want to start the objective up, potentially, but still just clearing away some vision. Both top lanes are on the top side with TP, and there is that one ward for TT not actually being caught by that control ward of Top Esports.
Yeah.
On the bottom right hand side of our screens there, as it just hands off. So see whether or not Hoya can make use of that. QingTian, like even have to teleport just to his team in the river if fight does break out.
Let's see what they want to go for, as Shelly does get the buff into mid lane. Both top laners kind of keeping themselves away from each other just to make sure they can go for something. Finally, the TP does end up getting pulled. So it's going to be a recall immediately there from QingTian. He wants to go back and maybe get something, but the dragon's already down at 3,000 HP. Might see a little bit of fight. TP going to be used here. Flash in, not going to land into anything there. The Dreadfire does not land, and it's stolen. Top Esports get themselves that dragon, even though it looked like TT had control. There's going to be the Glacial Fisher. Equaled out by the Moonlight Vigil. Everyone backs themselves away. Top Esports mission successful. They got the objective and they didn't lose anybody.
Yeah, all right. It's heist successful if you ask me. Because if you TT, because of the position, they'll pick up the tower for themselves. Ucal will get all of this gold, which is going to feel really nice. But that Soul Snowball not going to be a thing now. It'll be 10 minutes at the very earliest until TT can get their hands on that. As for a hit here onto Ucal for the rocket jump, so he should be okay.
Yeah, he has the ult as well. Very hard to really lock him down at that point.
Yeah, it's just that Tian was closing the gap for a second. I was like, hold on a minute. But wasn't willing to full commit, as we won't see a -1 from Hoya. Let's pick up that cannon. It's, you know, the observers have been so focused on that recently that I'm starting to get used to it now. I'm like, you know, we're panning on the side lane and there's no one here, but there is a cannon minion in the wave. Hoya doesn't miss out. As we come back, I wonder what we're talking about with Hoya. CS? Lee? Not sure.
Well, it looks like we're just going to be having a much slower style of game. And we're probably used to be perfectly honest, as LPL do like to get it kind of, you know, ready and loose. But this one has been a lot more tempered, very much and it kind of suits, I suppose, both teams, but definitely what Top Esports want to go for, because when it comes to team fighting and team fighting kind of setup and starting a team fight, Top Esports have a hell of a lot more than TT. Like, you look at everything from the Cyclone, QingTian going in with the all-out, of course the Annie flash ult, so you've got a lot more ways of starting a fight compared to TT. So I think Top Esports are quite happy to kind of scale up here with 2 to 3 items and then maybe look for a massive fight around that 4th or maybe 5th Drake.
Yeah, and I mean, I think even when you just kind of, you know, levy it player to player, you would expect Top Esports to just be the stronger team fighters generally, and I think you're right, they do have the better tools as well. I think TT are going to really have to start to lean on their ability to make picks with things like the Elise and the Nautilus. Took me a second to get there, but they have to just create pockets of vision for themselves, but obviously pockets of fog for Top Esports where they have to check in. They have to send Mark in maybe, or they have to send in QingTian or Tian. And then just heavily check them out, or if you can lock them down, obviously the better. but we've seen, you know, 2 sort of example fights already, which have gone the way of top esports as much as it can now. Rookie dodges down Coon.
Oh, he goes golden, but already Beichuan goes up, has to make sure he goes golden to make sure he does not die. But unfortunately for Rookie, he shall be losing. But top esports are looking for a bit of a collapse. Beichuan not exactly the healthiest, neither is Ucal. There's going to be explosive cow. Oh my god, the damage! Tian! Oh, they almost got away with it, but not quite able to happen. Actually cost the heal and flash of Mark to make sure his jungler did not die.
Wow. That was so much damage coming out from Ucal. He's got the Kraken Slayer. Just finished up the Bloodthirster as well. Imagine if he had that extra little bit of health and life still to work with. That could have been the difference maker, but we'll have it now for the next fight. But top esports still expend realistically more on that play than TT do in the extended, right? They lose flash and the heal, and Rookie had to use that stopwatch of his, so no longer has it.
They were, and then a ward went down. So
I mean, I will say the Baron's going to be quite quick, right? Gwen, Aphelios with the right guns.
Tristana.
Oh, even Elise has something to say about it. Yeah, Tristana is double AD carry. How did I forget? So if they do get on top of the Baron, it will burn quite quickly. So top esports have to be very mindful of that. They cannot get caught asleep at the wheel. Otherwise, they will certainly lose that Baron. And I think when you've got double AD carry and the kind of space buying that you do have on the side of TT, sieging is going to be quite difficult because the laning, the wave clear available to top esports isn't exactly the best, right? Especially against Baron minions, it's going to be a lot tougher. Ucal. I'm going to check this try rush.
He's got flash. Yeah, he's got flash. Yeah. So even if he did get caught, flash, buster shot. Actually, he didn't have the buster shot, but plenty of escapability here in the Tristana. And 2 items there on the 2 AD carries. Actually, 2 items pretty much across the board there. Force of Nature is going to be the second item here for QingTian, which does mean that he is a little bit behind in terms of his survivability against the AD carries, but in the side lane should do just fine.
It's a bit awkward, right? Because QingTian, realistically, you would love to itemize for team fights because that's, you know, realistically where your team comp thrives, and you're against double AD carry, but you're dealing with Gwen on the side lane, and if you don't build any MR against Gwen, she's just going to shred you. So being forced to go into the Force of Nature, definitely going to feel a little bit bad, but once he picks up, you know, maybe a Warden's Mail on his way to a Randuin's or something like that, he'll start to feel a little bit better about his survivability against all the DPS available to TT. But still, it's good to see that he's keeping item parity with Hoya, given how the laning phase was going for the most part, and the fact that he's still significantly down in CS.
Yeah, 40 CS or so. So I will say 0-2 for Hoya means he has put himself into harm's way, but now Ucal using that Tristana to the best of his ability. There is a dragon live, but no one seems interested in the dragon right now. Now that Soul isn't at least another 5 minutes for TT after they take it means that they aren't really that bothered about it. QingTian taking these fights here in this top side, or sorry, bottom side in the top lane matchup is not coming out the best of it, as the Void Staff is kind of shutting through a lot of this resistance, and you can see there QingTian not having the best of times either, and with the blue buff, the bot side camps as well. This is actually really difficult for top esports to force. I feel like with Hoya having such a chokehold around QingTian, it makes it difficult to look for those big, you know, kind of TP plays for the Ksante to come in afterwards.
Yeah, right. I think Hoya is just doing a really, really good job, and just frankly doing his job in this side lane matchup, chunking out QingTian, making sure that he's always in a bit of a difficult situation. Mark, not gonna go back to base.
They just got the reset. They look for the dragon, but this could be it. Like, this is again double AD carrying a Gwen.
It burns so quick.
Is it quick enough though? Here we go. Rookie gets hit up there by the ultimate from Ucal, who's just trying to keep everybody away. He flashes, gets the dredge line away. The Moonlight Vigil only lands onto one as QingTian tries to go in on top of this one here. Look at the damage coming out. Look at Ucal. The 280 carries are completely untouched as Hoya just keeps everybody away, and TT gets the Baron.
I mean, it's just a heist, but what can you really do with, you know, as top esports from that position? It's just really, really well played from Thunder Talk Gaming. As they now will move towards the top side, duo Hoya and Ucal, the solo laners. See whether or not they commit to the tower here. Had a couple of members reset, that being Yao Yao and Huanfeng, but I feel like they should just be able to take this tower, and you can see Rookie just giving the respect over to this duo as they should, as down on the bottom side of the map, esports at the very least they'll pick up a dragon. Our combat movement speed could have been quite useful for getting over to the Baron.
Yeah.
A little bit earlier. But Yeah, it's you know, it's a consolation prize. It's a penny when the person next to you just won the lottery. You know?
I mean, look, yeah, I mean, I love how you mentioned the penny when someone's won the lotto, because I hadn't noticed because I wasn't paying attention to the gold because it was relatively even. It's a 5,000 gold lead. Where did that 5,000 gold come from?
A lot of it did just come from that Baron power play. Before that, I was actually tracking it mentally. It was only like 1,500, 1.5, right? And everyone in the game sat at 2 items, right? In terms of damage dealers and such. So everyone is still item parried. This is kind of the break point where we might see Thunder Talk actually take a bit of a lead in that avenue. And, you know, I'll always say, I feel like item completions are the bigger spikes to track, right? Especially when we sort of approach this post 20-minute League of Legends world where I feel like oftentimes board leads can lie to you, you know? They can.
It's all part of the Matrix.
Oh God, don't even start. But like, yeah, you know, it is a bit of a little bit of false information at times, right? Where sure, until the resets just came through from Ucal and Huanfeng, you know, the items were even. If Top Esports and TT decide to butt heads, obviously, you know, league fights are very contextual and nuanced. They have at the very least be item equal, right? So Top Esports will have a little more room to dance with there. But now as the next set of items come in, the Bloodthirster and the Vori for Huanfeng and Ucal respectively, it's another spike, which Top Esports, Tian was looking to fight into, see if they could force the issue 4v5 as Hoya was away on the side lane, but it's just not going to happen. Disengage comes through. And Top Esports just, they're scrambling for whatever they can get. They know that this pick is going on, but Hoya should be able to buy a lot of time.
This is hard, and I was going to say, I don't think you can actually fully confirm on this. Hoya goes 1v5! 1v5, and they are terrified. They are running away for their lives right now, Jamada, because they know they cannot deal with Hoya.
Gwen is immune. That's why they're running away. And they can't do anything to him as he approaches them. And now the tower on the bottom side is going to die. TT, really, really nice rotation there. Top Esports, you understand the idea, but they don't have the damage to kill Hoya. It's as simple as that. And he makes the turnaround possible. And you could see all of the damage he's dealing in AoE. Everyone was lined up. It was like bowling. Unfortunately, for the side of Top Esports, they don't go down, but TT again, still, you know, find a counterpunch to a play that Top Esports are looking for.
I mean, what a way for Hoya to play. Like, I'm telling you right now, most people in a 1v5 situation are looking for the exit. They're not looking to engage. And just knowing that Ucal had the TP coming in, we're going to have a replay of just that, because even though no one dies, look at this. He kind of realizes, oh, hang on, you can't kill me.
He felt like a little bit of damage to Tian and was like, hold on a minute, I'm fed. Like,
I'm massive.
Yes, the slip onto those front three members, and you can see how much damage, you know, Top Esports can dump into one single target, sure, but whilst that Shroud was there, it's just not doable. It's just not something they can actually handle, and really, really well played by Hoya to make that play and just stand firm as Top Esports still, right, still on the back foot, and it feels like they don't really have any major answers to what TT are doing right now. And it's just credit to TT across the map, right, from top to bot. Everyone has been really, really uniform here. A couple of missteps short from Hoya suffering to ganks, but outside of that, his mid-game performance has been stellar so far.
Yeah, absolutely agree. And we're waiting to see if Beichuan and Hoya can get their Zanyas before this next fight. Like, this is going to be so difficult for them to really make it work. Hoya
round 2
was looking to maybe get caught out, but Top Esports not going to be able to find them there, as the majority of their players end up, actually all of them are in the bot side of the map. And this is the big thing, and we kind of bring this back to why I am legitimately worried for this Top Esports team coming into playoffs, because it is very likely they are still going to make it, but at the same time, this is not a team that I am excited for in playoffs. This is a dangerously, you know, kind of mediocre team, as Rookie trying to see if he can catch out Beichuan. Does have flash, maybe he's going to throw out the Q, but not going to be happening there. 25 seconds till the next dragon spawns. But again, for Top Esports, it doesn't feel like they're together on things. It feels like it's very kind of, we're going to try and outplay you. We're not going to try and outsmart you in any way. And that doesn't feel like what this team should be doing.
No, absolutely, you're right. And I agree, you know, Top Esports winning in the last couple of weeks in terms of performance, and it feels like you know, if there's one thing as a newcomer to the LPL, I do have to say, To beat a strong team here, it's not just about, you know, being a strong team, right? You know, having the players or necessarily the gameplay. It's about that level of consistency, right? At the end of the day, where there are so many good teams, right? There are so many good players. It doesn't matter if you're good, because there's other good players. You just have to consistently keep that level of play up. And right now, Top Esports haven't been able to maintain that standard that we know that they are capable of. So
this goes away so quick. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Jamada.
I mean, at least they're here. At least they're here.
The passive move speed you talked about, the out of combat move speed helped a lot right there, because that Baron was gone. Another 3 seconds and that was dead. Hoya getting jumped on here, has to ghost, as everyone was kind of moving back towards him. And now TT, we were talking about how Top Esports were looking a bit frazzled and dazed. TT, you don't want to panic right now. You've got plenty of opportunities, plenty of ways of kind of making yourself, you know, kind of in a better position. They're going to go back towards that Baron again. Takes it so quickly. Flash in. They're not going to be able to get on top, though, but they will catch out Hoya as he tries to go back in. QingTian can't kill him. QingTian can't get it done, and Hoya does exactly what he needs to do. Now you can see Mark just going down. It's a double kill as Tian tries to make this one work. It's a triple as the hop, skips, and a jump come in. TT, they hold their nerve, and TT will take game 1.
Yeah, they're going through the top side to end the game, and even though the engage from Rookie looked pretty solid at the very least to try and lock down Hoya, who's been a menace to the side of Top Esports, and sure, he does die. No one was touching the Aphelios or the Tristana, and Ucal and Huanfeng rampage through the front line of Top Esports, and no one can stand up to that much DPS right now. And TT, it will take game number 1. It was calm, it was collected, and I think from minute 1, just had a very strong understanding that Top Esports couldn't really match the early game playmaking potential. Things like the Nautilus, things like the Elise, they had to pay respect. And I think too much respect paid for a little bit too long, and TT take control of the game.
Absolutely. 2 dragons, and then once it was a confirmed McLeod soul, you could see very quickly that nobody cared. Nobody cared about it from TT. They kind of just got to a point where they said, right, it's fine, we're moving on, it's not a big deal. And this kind of is now the 5th game in a row that Top Esports have lost. They went 2-0 loss against LNG, 0-2 loss against LGD, and then now 1-0 down against TT. So, I mean, Top, you got to find something, dude. You got to put Rookie on Oriana. I want to see Tian on Elise. I want to see JackeyLove on, like, you know, on Kaisa.
Yeah, just get him on the World Championship skin.
Get him on something that he can use, because right now I am just so scared for this team, because it feels like it's just imploding.
Yeah. You know, I don't want to make any snap judgments too early at the end of the day, but it is obviously very, very scary right now for Top Esports. You know, from the brink of, you know, sort of our expected top 2 team amongst JDG, you know, I think people obviously always have the long-running meme, and it makes sense, of LNG being frauds. So far, they've at the very least kept the consistency.
They're not frauds this year.
They're not frauds this split for now. But, you know, you lose this game, all of a sudden you're in the mixer with BLG, with OMG, you know, with TT, right? And with Weibo. So you need to try and keep the distance, the gap here yourselves, and being on that 5 individual game win streak, loss streak rather, like you say, it makes you start to wonder, because we really weren't expecting to see Top Esports struggle basically ever throughout this split. No. What the answers will be for them, and where they can actually find some kind of refuge, I suppose, in a way, whether it's drafting more proactive early game picks, right? Just to kind of give yourself a semblance of, you know, we have members like Tian and members like Mark who are willing to make and look for plays. For now, though, you know, they came into this game with a much more defensive mindset, it felt like, and TT happily took the reins of the game. And you could see, did they even have a gold lead throughout this entire game to Esports? I don't think they did from the early stages at all.
They started
it was TT
31
from start
below.
To finish. Yeah.
31 below was the last. They were already minus 31 gold before anything really happened. But yeah, I mean, look, for Top Esports, a lot to be kind of said, you know, about where they're going as a team and how this team's actually going to be able to function, because right now it's just not. On the other side of this, massive praise for TT. Like you said,
Absolutely.
they were very much, knew how they want to play the game. They were happy to kind of say, look, we have double AD carry and a Gwen. We will melt objectives if you give us 5 seconds. They almost got that Baron in 5 seconds, to be perfectly honest, before Top Esports were able to kind of contest them for it. But then once you saw the engages coming in, and that was the big thing I kind of noticed, as much as I was praising the fact that you had the anti-Tibbers, you had the Wukong Cyclone, once they're down, you don't really have a way for JackeyLove or any kind of the DPS to really set its feet down and do a lot of the work. So really want to see a different draft come out here from Top Esports. And for TT, very well played from them. They're on their way to getting themselves another massive victory towards playoffs. We're going to take it to a quick break, though. And when we return, we're going to have picks and bans for game number 2.